The squared circle is a dangerous place. While we love pro wrestling for the exciting in-ring action and the jaw-dropping feats of athleticism, those same feats can turn out to be a WWE superstar's nightmare. Broken bones, torn ligaments, and shortened careers are all too common in the WWE. Yep, this video is not going to be for the faint of heart, as we count down 10 of the worst injuries in WWE history. Number 10. Steve Austin dropped on his neck. Starting with perhaps the most infamous injury in WWE history. At the 1997 SummerSlam event, Steve Austin was challenging Owen Hart for the Intercontinental title. Before he would become a megastar of the industry, Austin would first have to work up to the card by taking the championship from Owen. And while he would succeed in doing so, Austin would first be hit with the most industry-shaking piledriver in history, due to a freak accident by Owen who didn't grasp Austin's positioning while taking the move. Owen would fall to the mat to complete the piledriver, all while Austin's head went crashing into the mat. Austin lost the ability to move for a moment in time, with his life flashing in front of him before he was finally able to start moving his arms. With limited movement in his body, he rolled up to Owen to win. However, Austin's damage to his neck would linger on for the rest of his career. Number 9. Shawn's backbreaking fall. Ahead of WrestleMania 14, Vince McMahon's whole world was in disarray. Bret Hart had just left and he needed Shawn Michaels to help him lead into the new Attitude Era. However, at the Royal Rumble event prior, Shawn found himself in a world of hurt as he battled The Undertaker in a casket match. A few minutes into the match, Shawn was thrown over the top rope and landed hard on the corner of the casket. Due to this fall, Shawn would herniate 2 discs and crush one completely. He held out through WrestleMania 14. Dropping the WWF title to Steve Austin before heading into a temporary retirement because of the immeasurable pain he was going through. Number 8. Joey Mercury's shattered nose. Moving on from the Attitude Era, we now head over to the Armageddon pay-per-view in 2006. And during a fatal 4-way ladder match for the WWE Tag Team titles, an accident would happen between 2 of the teams. The Hardy Boys, veterans of the Tag Team ladder match, were involved in what has to be one of the grossest injuries ever seen on WWE pay-per-view. In a spot designed to launch one of the ladders into the faces of Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury, 2/3 of the M&M at the time, both men would receive some serious damage. However, Mercury's damage was far more severe. The ladder completely shattered his nose, with the blood pouring out of him resembling more of a sink faucet than a human body part. While Nitro moved out of the way to sell the move, Mercury would roll to the outside with blood pouring all over himself as he called for help, and the match quickly went to the finish. Number 7. Big E breaks his neck. Following a Hall of Fame-worthy career alongside Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, Big E became a headline story for all the wrong reasons. The former WWE champion watched as his career was put on hold following a horrific drop on the top of his head. During a tag match on SmackDown, The New Day would go up against their new rivals in the form of Sheamus and Ridge Holland. However, tragedy would strike following a botched overhead belly-to-belly suplex. A fairly standard move, Holland would look up to take out Big E on the outside before realizing that Big E took a pretty nasty landing on the top of his head. Big E was soon then rushed to the hospital where he learned that he had a broken neck with fractures to a C1 vertebra and C6 vertebra. At the time of writing this, Big E is still not returned to the ring, and many fans are left to question if he will ever return to the ring. An answer that Big E himself seems to be unsure of as well, unfortunately. Number 6. Triple H tears his quad. But now we move from one tag match to another that, despite the injury that took place during it, it's still celebrated among fans as one of the best tag matches in Raw history. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit teamed up to take on the powerhouse duo of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. During the bout, Jericho would apply his devastating Walls of Jericho submission to Austin, and when going to break up the submission, Triple H planted his feet in an unnatural way. This then tore his quad, perhaps a result of wear and tear. Nonetheless, he finished the outstanding match before getting help to the back and into the hospital. He was out for a whole 8 months before making his return and competing in the main event of WrestleMania X8. Number 5. Vince McMahon tears both quads. Anything my son-in-law can do, I can do better. That must have gone through Vince's head on the fateful night of 2005. At the Royal Rumble event that year, the crowd was stunned to see Batista and John Cena both land on the ground at the exact same time. And the backstage area was no different as that wasn't the original plan. Vince McMahon, not the most level-headed of people in the world, stormed down to the ring with perhaps one of the most intense power walks in WWE history. So intense, in fact, that his own body couldn't handle it. When entering the ring, Vince had accidentally torn both of his quads. The owner of the WWE was now barking orders to a handful of men, all staring at their boss on the ground. The issue would be solved with both Cena and Batista having to work around the juggernaut of pro wrestling, sitting helplessly on the ground. And after the match, Vince decided that wasn't enough. He walked to the back, refusing assistance before finally making it to his limo to seek medical attention. Vince has always been a crazy old man at heart. Number 4. Cody Rhodes tears his pec. Is it the worst injury in WWE history? No, it's hard to say it is. Is it one of the most impactful injuries in the last decade of WWE? Absolutely. At the 2022 Hell in a Cell event, Cody Rhodes was set for a main event clash against Seth Rollins inside the steel cage. But after making his entrance, Cody would take off his jacket to reveal a bright purple spot, taking nearly half of his chest. Just before the event, Cody was training hard in the gym when he suddenly felt his pec tear and his heart break. However, like a true gladiator, he did not let this injury stop him in his quest for success. He wrestled Rollins in what was arguably the match of the year, fighting through the pain as he picked up the victory. Number 3. Tyson Kidd's neck is busted. While Cody got to the battle as a knight in shining armor, main eventing a massive pay-per-view event, Tyson Kidd was not so lucky. In a dark match on Raw in 2015, Tyson Kidd was featured in a match against Samoa Joe. However, when the big man lifted up Tyson for his patented muscle buster finishing move, a move that he'd been perfecting for the past decade plus, Kidd's body would not take too kindly to the move. He crashed down hard into the mat, with his spine essentially collapsing upon impact. He had 16 staples, 4 screws, and a rod inserted into his neck. It's safe to say that he'll never wrestle again. Number 2. Droz and his career-ending powerbomb. On October 5th, 1999, an episode of SmackDown was being taped for its eventual broadcast the following Thursday. However, one of the matches featured at this event was an undercard bout featuring D'Lo Brown and a 30-year-old competitor named Drozdo. And during this match, D'Lo would lift up Droz for a fairly standard powerbomb before a disaster would strike during the move. D'Lo was unable to properly grasp Droz for the move, as Droz was unable to properly position himself for the harsh landing that would follow. Drozdov landed hard on the mat with his head slamming down as he fractured 2 vertebrae in his neck. He was immediately rushed to the hospital, and after a careful round of tests, the doctors concluded that Drozdov would be unable to move anything from the neck down. A total accident. Neither man blames the other for this heartbreaking development. It's just another example that even if you are properly trained, accidents can still happen. Number 1. Owen Hart falls. On May 23, 1999, Owen Hart fell to his death during the Over the Edge pay-per-view event. There's no real way to sugarcoat it. In preparation for his entrance as the Blue Blazer, a gimmick given to Owen to much disappointment, he was inserting himself into a harness above the ring. Quite like Sting's entrance over in the WCW, Owen was set to ride down from the rafters on a harness. Even though Hart had performed the stunt before, the design contraption ended up failing Owen as he fell down 78 feet down to the ring. The Over the Edge event would become infamous as the day Owen Hart fell to his death. And with that comes the end of this morbid list. While the world of wrestling has proven to be in a fun and exciting place, these 10 people will forever remind us to appreciate the incredible action we see week in and week out. Be safe, hug your loved ones, and have a good day.